Alright guys, here we're to talk about Season 1, Episode 1 of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Welcome to the Hellmouth.
It's all you love and know. It's Cannibal Video.
Ooh. Alright, so Lee, you've seen some episodes of Buffy the Vampire Slayer
Yeah, I mean,
before.
I feel like I watched Buffy, but it was 20 years ago. You are like something of a super fan. You've got
I very much
history.
enjoy Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I've watched the complete series through a few times. Not
Right.
recently, mind you. And my mind has been rotted from years of sugar. So I don't remember everything, but I think I have an above average knowledge of the show.
I mean, yeah, right. And like my knowledge is very much like I might have seen it the one time. Like I don't even know if I started watching on day one. I don't know if I would have had to have caught some of these in repeats or what happened or whatever. I have a lot of memories, but I don't know. And this was quite an experience. The first episode, because I did not remember any of this at all. I was like, so like in my head, I remembered she's like reluctant to be the Slayer and there's other stuff. And I'm like, if you were like, what's episode 1? I'm like, new girl in school, Xander's funny, I don't know, something like that, which is in there.
Yes.
But I didn't realize she'd already been slaying, and like Giles is the newbie who's like stuttering and being like, oh, this is how it works or something, and she's like burning stuff down somewhere else, right? And comes here.
It's supposed to be like a loose pickup from like where the movie left
Yeah,
off
it's
to
crazy.
starting over again with another person.
Right.
You know, obviously not the same Christy Swanson
No,
character.
and like I consider the movie separate in general, but yes, I loved the movie, so I would have been interested in this show.
It's great. So, you know, like 1997, when this came out, I remember
So young.
watching the premiere of this show, thinking this is amazing. I love this. So I was like a day one like super fan, and you know, made sure to be home to watch all the episodes as they came out.
To be clear, right, when I say reruns, like this is back when television was television. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't go back and watch a bunch of shows that that were on, like X-Files and stuff like that. So if a show was just a show on the real TV, I'm like, I saw it, I think, but it's not like now where you watch in order on your own binge schedule and you retain it and everyone's watch, right? It was very
Depending on when you caught, it was edited for commercials and you missed certain parts.
It was a very different time.
Yes.
It was a very different time because you might watch the new one that was weekly and some other channel might have old ones daily, so your brain would just get randomly filled with the show. It wasn't like it is now. Anyway, as an old man, just want to say, yes, I didn't realize Angel and Darla and everybody are already in here.
Yeah.
From the first episode.
Yes.
In my head, I'm like, they brought certain people on later and there was a thing, but
Certain
no.
things definitely feel different as the show goes on.
Yeah.
Like I think like all shows that end up having a long time like continuity issues where it's like oh, this person was like that when it started and this person like that, and they evolve and move on, and some things in a way that is a natural character progression, and other things where you're like, where did that person learn how to fight, like type of stuff where like
Because clearly here they're scared of fighting and later they can just do
Well, like an example of weird continuity-ish problems is Buffy is already the Slayer. While she may have renounced her wanting of this, it is something she's been doing. She's had the power she's been doing. But she seems to slip up really aggressively at times in this, where she accidentally says to the principal, like, well, that was, the gym was full of vampires.
Burn down the gym.
I did. I really did. But you're not seeing the big picture here. I mean, that gym was full of vampire... asbestos.
full of it. Oh.
And like at other points in the episode, she does very similar things where she just drops these little things.
Yeah.
We're like, So like,
I
you
think
think
that's
that she
them-
would already be deep in the lie, but it's because it's episode 1 and you're trying to paint this picture of who it is and what it is. And, if you didn't already get Vampire Slayer in the title, she fights vampires.
Right, it's for the benefit of the audience. And
Yes.
maybe trying to capture the Valley Girl stuff, Christy Swanson's thing or something. But yeah, that gets dropped at some point along the way, right?
Oh, you're a good girl, Buffy. You just fell in with the wrong crowd. But that is all behind us now.
It is. From now on, I'm only going to hang out with the living. I mean, lively people.
Yeah.
And Cordelia, right?
Cordelia.
She becomes not like this, I think. They like win her over in some way, right? Because she's a bitch.
Well, she's always a bitch.
She's a bitch.
She's one of my favorite characters, actually.
I remember her mostly from Angel, honestly. So
Sure.
I kind of forget, too, that she was everyone's there from day one, Stefan. It's crazy.
Yes. And when Buffy comes from LA, eventually she's with Angel in LA. So it all comes back to where she wants to be. She's jealous of Buffy for coming from LA. Oh, I'd love to be close to all those shoes. And then bam, she's close to all those shoes.
And then she's close to all those shoes. Oh, reunited with the shoes.
So you're from Hemery, right? In LA?
Yeah.
Oh, I would kill to live in LA. That close to that many shoes?
That's what the whole 2 series is actually about, is reuniting her.
That's what the whole thing ultimately
Exactly.
goes to. Yeah, well, things like the early 90s was big on skateboarding. So Xander you see for the first time and last time riding that skateboard in. I think you see him with a skateboard in other episodes, but you never see him ride it again. That's the only time.
They had to construct the shot, too, because
Yeah.
it's just him from, like, the waist up going
Yes.
like this, just me surfing right now, right?
Uh-huh.
It's just that. It's very
And then he gets like mid-waist clotheslined.
That's your stop. Please move. Whoa. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Indeed. And that's a product of the times, much like having a kid with a skateboard on the cover of a DVD or a dog that wasn't in the movie. Like that was a thing you just threw into the late 90s. People just needed that. You needed to have someone holding a boombox for some reason. And they have that here. So I don't know if you ever saw the like original pilot episode of this.
I heard about it because when I went to go look, you know, to look up this to find out somebody, it says episode 0 unaired pilot, and I'm like, oh shit,
Yeah.
because this
You
begins.
can see it on YouTube. It's not a rarity.
This begins with a really tiny, like, the Slayer, once in a generation, the Slayer. And I'm like, was that always in the show? Did that start every like credit sequence? I don't think it did.
It might even be through the whole first season.
Okay.
But they didn't
I
change
was
it.
like, whoa, did they add this for the DVD or something? This sucks.
In every generation, there is a chosen one. She alone will stand against the vampires, the demons, and the forces of darkness. She is the Slayer.
But okay.
That was speaking
Yes,
of the real
the
quick. While I
unaired
remember,
pilot.
they wanted to add. I'm not gonna say that. It leads to brief spoilers, so I won't.
Are we not spoiling?
I don't want to spoil future episodes.
Episodes we haven't covered
Yeah,
yet.
yeah.
Exactly, okay.
So yes, the unaired pilot.
Yeah.
There's a couple of changes, not too much. It's roughly the same. Some sets take place in different areas. And
I
things
hear
like
it's
that.
shorter, but
but
it's
you have
more or
Willow
less
was replaced with Riff Regan, a person that was in a couple of shows, but ultimately didn't do much after her getting kicked off of this show.
I'm Buffy.
I know. I'm Willow.
Good to meet you.
And the principal was swapped with a guy who you've definitely seen before.
Principal Flutie?
Bambi. Betty. Betty. Wilma.
Buffy.
What is his name? Like Steven Tobolowsky or something like that.
Good
He's
old
like a
Toby
character
Steve.
actor who you're like, oh, you're in everything. I'll flash a picture, and you'll go, oh, I know that guy.
I think the principal is a character actor, too,
Yes.
the guy who's in this. So I meant to look him up.
Mr. Flutie.
All the kids here are free to call me Bob,
Bob.
but they don't.
Yeah, but you can't lose Willow. That's crazy. Willow's such an important, iconic
well,
part
at
of
the
the show.
time she wasn't.
I mean, now looking back, that's
At the time, it was like, oh, the girl from My Stepmother's an Alien? Oh my God.
This is a huge good move. You know, good decision. I don't care who that other person was. Fuck them. We need Willow.
Also, in the original, the guy that Darla's making out with is a different guy, which is of no consequence,
Sure.
but who ends up being is the guy from CSI New York, where you're like, oh, I know you. I love that there's like, oh, do you go to this school? You're both 35. What do you mean do you go to this school?
Do you go to school here?
I used to.
And that is a trend in all TV shows where people are like shockingly old to be still in high school.
Yeah.
But I think most of this group, while yes, they do look older, they pass for me. They don't have that Brendan Preasley like look where I'm like, you're like, what are you? Should go to jail for being in high school? What's going on?
Full beard, mortgage, everything.
yeah.
Like, what the fuck is this guy? No, like, we benefit a lot too from the nostalgia and the hindsight because they all look like babies compared to how they look later.
Yes.
Sarah Michelle Gellar kind of never changes the way she looks, but even she, I was like, damn, everyone is so young
Yeah.
here. Even Giles, like
Well,
everyone.
because
I'm
even
like,
the
whoa.
oldest of them is
Yeah.
Cordelia, I believe.
Okay.
And she's like 26
Yeah.
or something, which honestly, that's not crazy old for a high school person.
No, and she looks like a high school person from a movie. It's fine. Yes.
Yeah.
But they all look so young compared to what I'm used to that I'm like, they're babies. They're so young. Yeah.
And everyone went to high school with some people where you're like, you're a fully formed adult. What the hell's
Yeah,
going on
you're
here?
like a mom.
Where like a new person goes like, are you the art teacher? Like, what? I'm in 8th
No.
grade. Like, what?
I'm in a grade below you. What are you
Yeah.
talking about? Yes.
So we meet our characters.
Yes,
one
it's a
by
great
one.
little like new girl bumping into people. You had some great character development where Cordelia is really mean to Willow, and then she's like, "I will not be mean to Willow." And then
Yes.
gets the whole
But
ball
she's
rolling.
great in that she's mean, but in such a sharp-witted way that I like that.
Okay.
Because sometimes it's like, oh, you're a bully, you're just a dumb bitch type of thing. But Cordelia, while she comes across as like not the most intelligent one, and they play that up throughout the series, some of her zingers are fucking hard. Like she gets some
but
good
she-
stuff
I mean,
in there.
she is mean. It's bad.
Yes.
You just like her.
Well, no.
She's your favorite. You told me already.
I like, much like Kevin
Yes.
Smith writing, Joss
Yeah.
Whedon writing, every character is hyper witty,
just
and
witty
super
and,
great,
yes.
and the cast that is in this just happens to really hit their
Yeah.
marks so well that I think it really drives that home. In some shows, movies, the dialogue is so rich, but it comes across as like you're reading a script. I don't like it. In this, the Scoobies happen to just be really, really good.
And like people get critical of those writers. You have your Tarantino, your Kevin Smith, your Joss
Yes.
Whedon, because like every character sounds the same. But that only happens if like the actors are like less good to like
Yes.
give it their own like thing, right?
And then
So-
it comes across as, and like
Yes.
none of our friends are this witty, but really like, oh, that's how my friends
This
talk.
is exactly how real
Yeah.
people talk, and it's like you do not talk like that.
You wish you talked like that.
10, hours later, driving home, you're like, that's funny. I should have said that. Like
Yes.
you're like, yes.
So we meet Xander, we meet Willow, we meet Jesse, Cordelia.
Is Jesse a thing?
Jesse is the friend who, at the end of the episode, is in the crypt. He has his neck got bit.
I assumed he's just the guy who dies. Do we meet him? Does he stick around?
Jesse
No spoilers. You can't answer that. That's
is in the whole episode.
When I saw him, I'm like, I don't recognize you. You may as well be wearing a red shirt on Star Trek. You're dead, motherfucker.
I forget what I knew him from upon day one.
Okay.
And maybe it was just like, I like that guy, but I remember like really liking him. And since this, I can think of things he's been in, but I can't recall what made me go like, I like that guy in the first place.
People just like people. Yeah.
Yeah, he's in an episode of Freaky Links. He's in Secondhand Lions. He's in Haven. He had a pretty good career of stuff.
I know Darla as Rita from Dexter.
Sure.
And I did not recognize her until she started talking. They're in that intro kind of scene.
Uh-huh.
I really loved that, and it really drew me in, where she's like, did you hear that? Hear what? Hello? Hello? No, like, babe, no one's here. And she's like, you sure? And like, bites him, like, oh, so this is okay.
Are you sure?
Yes, I'm sure.
Okay.
I'm like,
That
oh, this is
song
awesome.
gets
This is
me
wonderful.
hyped
Fucking A.
every time.
Yes.
Every
It was
time
like,
I hear
ah.
that song, like I hum
It was like
along.
a warm
Oh,
hug.
yeah.
I'm like, that's so good. Yeah, it's
Oh,
wonderful.
it's fantastic. The Nerf herder, so good.
Because I forgot if it starts and has to ramp up, or if it jumps right into it, or what happens. Obviously, I forgot a lot of like the structure that she's coming off and being like, I'm done with all that slaying shit. And John's like, wait, hold on, the book. You need this, the book. Yeah, it's great. Yes.
Another thing that like I think it suffers from being the first episode, and not in any way that me goes, I don't like this, but you look at Giles, who's the Watcher, who's a trained whatever, and he seems to not know much about vampires at all, because for exposition purposes, the audience doesn't know about vampires, so they have to say things. And like the same deal with Buffy in times where everyone feels dumber than they should be for the point of their lives they are. To be appointed to be a Watcher, you'd think you have to be the best, because there's only fucking one that is in charge of a Slayer.
Oh, I see, yes.
So
yes, but he's never done it before.
No,
right?
of course, he's never done it before.
I took him to be like a newbie who's book smart, and there's that great scene where he's like, you need to be able to reach out with your spirit and like identify a vampire, and then close your eyes and do it. And she's like, that one. He's wearing dumb clothes, and he's like, what? Like it's a good clash where she's got
perfect.
the good
He's stuffy
thing.
British.
Yes.
She's like a hip like teenage
She's
girl.
like, ew, no, and he like goes away, and he's like, fuck, like trying to, it's a better dynamic than I like remembered, because I think I watched most of the show like in the middle, where like this is just business as usual. He flips through the book, he says we need to break the curse, and they go what, and we fucking everyone runs around. It's just like an episode, right? Whereas this was very much a cool introduction to these characters.
Yeah. So you meet your enemies now. You have the Master, who is like in this underground chasm of a church.
Is that our wet boy that comes out of the blood pool and stuff? Okay.
Who like reverse action like goes into the pool and comes back out.
I love it.
It works out nice, and you can even see him kind of stumble on that first step, where I imagine he is stepping backwards to get into the water.
Yeah, it's an old move, but it's a good one.
It is.
I love it so
played
much.
nicely, because
The
that
reverse
is
coming out of
sinister.
the water.
Like you were coming out of blood bone dry.
Yeah, I love it. His like head henchman is
Luke, I think is his name.
That might be his name, but I know him as I forget his name. Brian Thompson, I think, is such a boring name. Alien bounty hunter, among a bunch of other stuff. Moon 44 pilot himself.
No, he's
Brian and a million other things.
Yes,
I did not recognize him because he's usually vamped up and stuff in this. And
he has a great bone structure to be a bad guy, like in everything.
Yes, and like the voice, I was like, I know this person. I know this person from the same time period, and I had to look it up, and that's where I was like, yes.
Yeah, and he's still acting today.
There you go.
I saw him in a Bigfoot movie not too long ago.
And the ending of this is a cliffhanger where he's about to kill Buffy.
Yes, he is on top of her in the
Right?
crypt.
There's like 7 seasons, but she's gonna die. So like, how are they gonna
And it's
continue
over.
without her? It's the question.
I remember as a kid, not this episode particularly
Yeah.
thinking this, but in across the board of shows, there'd be a thing where like it ends and people are like, I'm like, oh, the show's over. They're dead.
That's
oh,
it.
God.
Yeah.
I love being a kid and like having like the ability to believe that.
Yes.
Oh, the show ended mid-season. They've killed off the main character.
There's 4 episodes left. Weird time to end, but they're not gonna get out of this one.
Yeah.
No,
I guess
I know.
it's the Xander show now.
I guess that's how we do it. Giles is like, next, pulls a big thing, and someone else comes in. No, but like, that's awesome. Being able to feel that feeling.
Yes.
I do yearn again for a time of being a kid when you could believe a cliffhanger like this. It's so cool for it to end in like a cliffhanger. It's like it's like a 2-part opener now, right? It's just awesome.
One thing
cannot
that
wait.
never bothered me before today, I guess I'm the oldest and most cynical that I have been in my life.
It's only
watching the show.
it's only getting worse.
I'm sure. Is that Buffy runs into Xander? She goes, Willow took off with a guy. Xander's like, oh, good for her. And she's like, well, where would he take her? And like. You're like I don't know, like maybe the ice cream place, like how Willow thinks she's going, like how they end up at the crypt in time to perfectly save her is just plot convenience, because like even in the best case scenario where he's like the cemetery, they had to have found the exact plot like that just a little bit of convenience. And all TV shows, I'm gonna have a million of those throughout the series, but that one never jumped out at me before. Like I guess I always just thought like Buffy, she knows that you know they go to cemeteries, that's obviously where they'd be. Like just never really snapped against me.
These things don't bother me. I'm fine. Obviously, they have to meet up with them to do the thing.
No, it only jumped out at me because she asks Xander where would they go.
Does he
and I
answer?
No, he doesn't.
Yeah,
off
'cause
screen, they just end up there.
They
yeah.
figure it out off screen. That's
I
the perfect
guess.
way to solve these problems. You won't have to do this.
That's a big TV issue.
Yeah, that's that.
I love my favorite
the
TV
whole
issue
thing.
thing is
Yeah.
like if I'm like, we got a big problem, we gotta settle the score right now, and then it cuts to commercial and it comes back and they're like eating cheese or something, and you're like, what? How did they settle that? No explanation there.
Yeah, there's a bunch of these, right, where people have been like, it's a 16-hour ride or flight to there, and it's like, that's the landing spot. Great. So you've been fighting vampires long, and you're like, what the fuck? You had 15 hours and 58 minutes to talk about this.
Exactly.
Yeah, so yeah, I don't care about these things. They're fun to mention or whatever here. I like how it was off camera. I like that moment of him being like, oh, the crazy new girl is asking me questions. Stop it. And then she's like, no, I'm serious. You're like, are you serious? And that's him getting scooped up into the whole thing, right? I'm worried because I don't know who knows that she's the Slayer now. Who did Cordelia, like, how far did that get spread?
Well,
did she post it onto her AOL?
Cordelia only doesn't know she's a Slayer. She just knows that she almost got
Crazy
stabbed by a
stuff.
crazy
Yeah,
person
yeah.
with a stick, and she'll tell everybody because that's what Cordelia does.
Yeah.
Xander knows she's a Slayer because he overheard things. He didn't believe what that really was, but now he's
Oh,
seen
that's
somebody get
right.
dusted
Okay.
right
Never
in
mind.
front of her.
We're good.
So like he definitely believes. Willow definitely has some questions.
So Buffy,
Jesse may or may not have noticed because he's lost a lot of blood.
Buffy reacts like, "Oh my God, who doesn't know about this?"
Yes.
So
because Angel also came up and he knew.
but that
Giles just happened to know.
I know, but that was right after the scene where she's like, "I'm telling everybody," and writes the thing. So I'm like, "Oh shit, how does this work out?" Because that's not a part of the show where where everyone thinks that she's the Slayer.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So we ended with this cliffhanger. We're gonna pick up in the next episode. We're gonna see what Luke does.
Hopefully not just eating cheese.
Well,
to your point.
We'll see. All right, guys. So we're gonna be going through every episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer weekly. If you like this, come on and see us next week.
Hello, internets. I just love watching Justdaggers. If you've enjoyed this video as much as I have, click that subscribe button. Peace out, homies.